A pilot isn't just any episode, it's the very first episode, the one that introduces you to the whole series. By the end of a pilot, you should have a good idea of the mood, the show's premise, and the main characters. In this respect, I believe Ramshackle failed on most accounts. Now, that's not me calling Ramshackle a flat-out failure. I mean, come on, look at those views. However, popularity does not subtract from its issues that need addressing in order for it to improve. After all, improvement can only come from proper criticism. A quick refresher, Ramshackle opens with our three main characters, Skips, Vinny, and Stone, as they try to look for a can of beans to eat. They find a baby in the trash and decide to take him in after Skips convinces them. Our trio names the baby Maggot. It wants to show him how to steal. After a failed pickpocketing, Maggot eats the woman and coughs out an advertisement for a baby pageant that offers a $10 cash prize for the winner. They enter Maggot into the contest, and within the first round he wins. The trio then gets harassed for being poor. The audience becomes mindless zombies, and we get a fight sequence. Our main characters get cornered and Maggot reveals himself as an angel. He then gives the trio a can of beans, followed by the extermination of the zombie crowd. End of episode. I'll start with the positives first. For one, the character designs are very appealing to the eye. The art style feels familiar but distinct. The background looks fantastic and really captures the atmosphere the series is going for. The use of gray and warm light brown gives off that old-timey feel, like an old photograph and an aged piece of paper. Ramshackle sells the mood of the series very well with its style. The animation itself is smooth and fluid most of the time, like an official network series. I also really like that the Scraps actually listened to their moral compass, Skips, sincerely, and didn't just begrudgingly follow his lead because being nice is lame. Let's see, what else was good? I like the background music they had. Actually, upon rewatching, I stuck around to listen to the ending song, which is actually really good. Never mind. Okay, now onto the not so good stuff. I'm assuming the premise of Ramshackle is three homeless kids scheming to take money from the rich to survive. I can only assume that because this episode shifts gears far too much. My first impression was that the whole story would be about these three just trying to survive by any means necessary. Then we got introduced to Maggot, and it was starting to look like this series would be about three homeless kids trying to raise a baby as they steal to survive. Bank heist or fraud experience? Whoa, either of those sound great for our first episode. Oh, this is great! We're going to be seeing fun schemes and heists, and this whole crew will be a fun and loving family for this little guy throughout the series. Needless to say, when Maggot ate that woman, I couldn't help but feel something had gone wrong somewhere. I wasn't sure where the story was going with its premise anymore. You're having the audience believe that Maggot will permanently be a part of this group, given the amount of focus and time we're putting into him. So I'm assuming whatever that was is important to the series' premise. How abnormal is this? Or is this normal? It's not entirely clear because the kids don't question it, but it's not like we've seen any other monsters here. Then we got introduced to the pageant, and I was left wondering, why are we here? So the only things we get that are in line with the original premise so far are a passing mention of schemes and a failed pickpocketing. You mentioned bank heist, which sounds more engaging than a pageant, but here we are. Let's see why they chose a pageant instead of a scheme. That's it? That's all you had to show for it? One decent joke and some questions that need addressing? Going to the pageant felt pointless, but there could have been some interesting or funny scenes, but it's just over. Why? Why be at a pageant if you're not going to do anything with it? The pageant just abruptly ends. Were there any ideas for what could have happened here? Why are we here? The trio didn't even do anything important or clever here. They just cheer for Maggot and then start getting mobbed for being poor. This could have been so easily tweaked. Just have them pickpocket as the pageant is going on while people are distracted. That way, whether Maggot won or lost, they still got money. Ugh. That pageant thing really pisses me off. We don't see the kids pull off a cool scheme or see them get caught doing something and run away. No, we got baby and pageant. Why? Genuinely why? To make my point clear, this pilot doesn't show us the premise as a pilot should. This episode will work perfectly fine for an episode 2 or 3 when we already know the main cast pretty well and are familiar with what Ramshackle is about. But as a pilot for an episodic show, there shouldn't be anything unclear about what the series is about. The pageant and Maggot take up most of the runtime when they don't even do a good job of should have been on the actual main characters. To put it short, this pilot is unfocused. And speaking of characters... Okay, so based on Skips being the first to want to take in Maggot and him standing up for the little girl, it's safe to assume he is the moral compass or the heart of the group. He's not the only one to help someone in need. need, but he is the first. Vinny is tough based on how unafraid she is to jump into battle, and shows empathy by taking in maggots. And Stone is pragmatic, shown by him pointing out the hurdles that come with taking in a baby, but also empathetic for the same reason as Vinny. I guess you can also tack on that he's quiet. That's all I can draw out from what was shown. These aren't strong characteristics because they each display these traits only once. Skips at least shows his traits twice, showing that this repeated behavior defines him. The problem with this display is that I can only clearly see what role Skips plays. He is the heart. The others show like 2 traits, but don't really display their role. One of those traits is just about how loud they talk. To accentuate this point, let's take the battle sequence. Based on their character design, I would assume Vinny is the heavy hitter. She's got thicker arms and legs compared to the other two, accompanied by her tough personality, so we got the muscle. We see her beginning to one-shot people, so that checks out. Based on the fact that Skips was chosen to run with maggots, I would assume that he would be the quickest and nimblest of the 3. He'd be sort of like the athlete or the gymnast. The only one missing a role now is Stone. His skinny design shows he's not a fighter of strength, so perhaps he fills the role of the brain. Perhaps while he's off screen right now, he's thinking of a way to get out of the situation. Ah, there we go. That's what part they play when it comes to situations like these, and probably their schemes too. Oh, Stone just hits someone with a bottle, and Skips isn't really showing an amazing display of how nimble he could be. I expected him to be dodging people like crazy. Now he's one-shotting people? Stone's throwing Molotovs. Why? What do any of these characters do that the others can't or won't do? This battle scene should be the big display of what makes X characters special compared to the other two, but we don't really get that. Both Vinny and Skips down people in 1 hit, while Stone technically needs 2 hits to down a person. Stone throws Molotovs, which doesn't really say anything about his character, and Skips runs around at first while showing some athleticism, but not enough to make it stand out as, oh, he is really good at this. I know I made these characters' roles up for them, and it's fine if they don't fit into what I assumed for them, so long as they do have a role. Skips can get a pass because he at least has the moral compass rolled down, but the others don't really have one. I'd wholeheartedly disagree if you think they don't need to fit into a role. A group cast is only fun to watch when they have different dynamics. A perfect example of this is the pilot for Teen Titans, since they are also an established group like the Scraps. With just 1 episode, we understand who plays what role in the team, both narratively and in battle. Writers can have the viewer identify the role of a character with a good character design and repeated behavior. By having the roles be recognizable, it helps the audience feel familiar with the character, and they can accurately assume how the character will act. Since the audience already knows a good bit about the character, the writer can then add smaller things that make them feel like a full character, like when Raven is caring enough to heal Beast Boy's wounds. Roles let you know, or at least think that you know, who the character is. Vinny and Stone don't get to show us their traits at their fullest because for some reason we waste screen time to a baby. Instead of showing us more interactions with our main characters, we focus on a minor character. Of course, shows do this, but not in a pilot. There shouldn't be any sidelining of the main characters in a pilot. This episode sounds so empty, which is surprising because the visuals are so full. There's so much to see, but not a lot of sound effects or musical cues. The music is good, but there's simply not enough of it. Take this scene, for example.
I'm sorry, I had to. Shit, someone shut this broad up.
It's missing a dramatic musical cue to emphasize the tension of almost getting cut. I compared the audio to Phineas and Ferb's pilot, and they actually only have a bird for background noise, with occasional sound effects, but they play a new second-long song around every 30 seconds that correlate with the scene, making it sound full.
The state fair.
Please exit to the left.
Man, that was lame. Why, if I built a roller coaster, I would... That's it! I know what we're gonna do today!
While Ramshackle plays a new song after minutes, sometimes not even having background noise in between. Also, could we not get a better cry? You know we have stock sound effects, right? You know what? Let me give you one for free. Since comedy is subjective or whatever, I'm not even going to try to explain myself in depth. These are just my opinions that I assume others can agree on some level.
It was in our bean corner last night.
The bean joke gives off strong energy.
Look at them all. Riching. Ritually.
Same as the bean joke, just
I want to speak to you.
that joke is by itself, but it also makes absolutely zero sense. You're asking homeless children for their manager? Ugh, bait. Such bait energy.
I bestow upon you 3 cents and an 8-ounce can of hickory smoked beans.
Not even a joke on how a literal divine being only gave them the bare minimum? That's a cheap-ass angel. Ramshackle is a project that clearly has a lot of love in it. The visuals are a 10 out of 10, from the art style to the color grading to the clean animation. Simply immaculate. The background music was good, but there simply wasn't enough of it. There weren't enough sound effects, background noise, or musical cues to keep the episode from sounding so empty. The lack of characterization from the main cast was also a problem. Skips is the most identifiable character, but Vinny and Stone didn't really get to show us who they are. The premise isn't as clear-cut as it should be because we waste too much time on things that ultimately don't matter to the series as a whole. I would strongly recommend that in the future there be a formula on how most episodes will go, kinda like Phineas and Ferb. I believe a formula makes shows easier to write and watch. The plot won't lose focus, and the fans will feel more connected with the show since they picked up the story patterns from being so loyal. Formulas also give shows their identity, in addition to their practicality. I'd also love it if the audio was as full and alive as the visuals. Also, I believe the comedy could use better deliveries. Ramshackle is a good concept that I'd like to see reach its fullest potential. I genuinely believe its concept could reach instant classic status once it's been refined, and that's pretty much all I wanted to say. But let me know what you guys think. Agree? Disagree? Let me know in the comments down below. Well, that's it. Bye.